Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a sort of live review, movie review video type of thing. I've seen a few of these on YouTube and they sort of work quite well. So really we're just going to go in, I'm going to watch 3 or 4 movies and give you my thoughts straight away afterwards. So let's see what I can rustle up. First up is Christine. This is the German Blu-ray of Christine, directed by John Carpenter, written by Stephen King. I don't think I've ever seen this film, which is quite weird for a Stephen King and John Carpenter fan. I've been revisiting a lot of early Stephen King over the last few weeks. I've watched Cat's Eye, Dead Zone, which I love both of those. So I thought naturally I'll go for this next. The US version was released by Twilight Time, as some of you may know, limited to I think it was either 1,000 or 3,000 copies, and goes for crazy money now. So this German Blu-ray, which by all accounts is from the same print, has the same special features as the US limited edition. I think it cost me about 10 or 15 euros. So let's see what the movie's like. I'm really intrigued about this one. I'll speak to you at the end. So just watched Christine, and what a fantastic film that was. I mean, that really is signature John Carpenter. Everything from the direction through to the music, through to you know, the long shots and the 2.35 to 1 ratio. Everything about it was superb. I mean, obviously I knew this was about a car that killed people, and normally with any other director you'd probably think, forget it. But with him, I mean, just fantastic. Everything about this film was fantastic. I don't want to say too much about the actual storyline in case you haven't seen it, but I thoroughly if you like Stephen King and John Carpenter and you've not seen this, then buy this this Blu-ray. Now, in terms of the actual Blu-ray itself, the presentation was flawless. There was DTS HD Master Audio, which sounded to me pretty much like a new film, and you know, the picture quality was as good as you're going to get. And you've also got John Carpenter commentary and all of the special features. There's not huge amounts, but the special features that were on the Twilight Time release are on this release as well. Yeah, thoroughly recommend this. 9.5 out of 10, maybe a 10 out of 10. Absolutely superb. So on to the next film. Okay, next up is Horns, directed by Alexander Aja. Big fan of his, actually. Any horror fan knows Switchblade Romance, or Haute Tension as it's originally known, is a classic, and got him the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. So I was keen to see this. Obviously stars Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. No idea really, other than the fact he grows horns, what it's about. But yeah, keen to see it. So that's next on the list today. And also it comes in this fairly cool holographic cover as well. And a red Blu-ray sleeve. So anyway, let's go in. This is Horns, Alexander Aja and Daniel Radcliffe. Right, I've just watched Horns. Forgive me if I'm rambling because I've had a few beers while watching this, but this is one of the most unique films I've seen in a long time. Alexander Aja is a good filmmaker. Daniel Radcliffe, I've not, you know, Harry Potter I've never watched, but it's difficult to categorise this movie. It's part horror, part mystery, part fantasy type thing. It's basically about a guy who's in love with his girlfriend. She then gets brutally murdered. Everyone in the town thinks he did it, and he then starts growing horns. And certain people that he comes across tell him their inner feelings, and it just sort of evolves from there. It would be unfair for me to say anything more than that, but really great film. One of the most unique films I've seen in a long time, actually. My one weep over this sort of Blu-ray is the film seemed to have a huge budget, and really well shot, great sound, everything else, and yet the Blu-ray just had a behind the scenes and a trailer, and that's literally it. Where's the commentary? I mean, you want to see a commentary, I want to see a detailed analysis of how the film came to be. a lot of it is, it flashes back between Daniel Radcliffe's character when he was a teenager, or almost pre-teenager, and now, and it all sort of comes together. I don't know whether it's because of the last film I watched, but it's sort of Stephen King-ish. But listen, if you're into sort of horror films and things like that, well, it's a must-watch. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. On to the next one. Okay, next up is the latest in the 88 Films classic slasher collection line. Really impressed with what 88 Films have done. They're a small independent label from the UK, and they're releasing slasher classics, all in these matching red sleeves. These are the ones that I've got so far. I think I'm up to date pretty much. We've got The Bogeyman, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Slaughterhouse, Don't Go in the Woods Alone, sorry, Mother's Day. Actually, that's one remake I really like, the Mother's Day remake, by the way. Graduation Day, which also has a really great documentary on it about Scream Queens. Thoroughly recommend that. And the one I'm going to check out now, which is the latest release, it's number 8 in the series, is a movie called Dead of Winter. Now, I know nothing about this movie whatsoever. I've never actually heard of it before. Apart from it, I know it stars Roddy McDowall, who obviously was in the Planet of the Apes films. And that's literally it. So I'm going in totally blind. So let's take a look. This is Dead of Winter, 88 Films. Just finished watching Dead of Winter. A solid Hitchcockian thriller is how I'd best describe it. It's certainly not a slasher classic. But we'll give 88 Films artistic license to include these type of films in their line. It's basically about a struggling New York actress who goes for an audition. She gets the part immediately. Roddy McDowall is the guy that's hiring her. And she basically has to go up to Canada to shoot a promo to replace an actress who's had a breakdown and has committed suicide, to continue in that actress's role for the remainder of the film. She's then stuck in a big house in the dead of winter, hence the title. Snow everywhere, etc. And things take a turn for the worse from there. That's probably the best way I can leave it. I say solid 7 out of 10. Decent title. Very well presented on Blu-ray. Really good high definition transfer. It's a Dolby Pro Logic soundtrack. Or that's what my receiver said anyway. And but you know, again, if you turn that up, I've got Dolby Pro Logic too. You get a decent amount of surround sound, mostly front heavy, but yeah, clean soundtrack, very good. The only downside, I suppose, with this title, which is unusual for 88 Films, particularly in this slasher line, is there really isn't a great deal of special features on this disc. In fact, if I highlight it now, you might be able to see you basically get a stills gallery and a trailer reel, and that's your lot. I'd quite like to have had a commentary. I've no idea whether the director's still alive or not. This is from 1987, this film. But yeah, a good solid film, and I really enjoyed it. I thought maybe the payoff at the end, I enjoyed the first hour more than the last half an hour, I guess is the best way of describing it, but it was still very solid. And yeah, a few twists and turns along the way, and so I'd recommend it. I'd recommend their line though, the wider Slasher Classics line, a great deal. They really are coming and competing with the likes of Arrow and Scream Factory, etc. A small independent label from the UK, so they need supporting. So you know, if you're a horror completist like me, you're going to end up buying all of the titles that come out on this slasher line. I think that it's been pretty successful for them, so I'm sure they'll keep churning them out. I just hope they keep the quality of the releases as they have done thus far, because it's been really, really impressive. So I wholeheartedly recommend the label, this particular title, and the Slasher Classics line as well. They also do an Italian line, which I've not picked up. I can only afford to collect one lot, I think, and I prefer slashers to Italian films. But anyway, take a look. They've got a website. They've got a direct shop. So that brings me pretty much to the end of day one of my my live reviews. I'm going to carry on with this video actually into tomorrow, Sunday. I hope you don't mind. So we'll see what else I've got in my collection to watch. So stay tuned. Okay, so day 2, and I'm starting off with a late 80s horror called Society, which has recently been released by Arrow UK. I think it's also available in the States, because I know Arrow now do a US line as well. I first saw this back in the day on terrestrial TV, and I remember being enthralled with the movie and absolutely desperate to see what happened at the end. And for anyone who's seen this film, it is all about what happens at the end. But before I go in and watch it again, I just wanted to commend Arrow on their packaging and just the whole release, really. It all comes in an embossed, I think it's his limited edition. It doesn't say how many it's limited to, but it comes in an embossed sleeve. Absolutely masses of special features. You get a comic book with it, which is quite long actually. All housed in a digipack. Again, just look at the care and attention that's gone into this. So yes, you can't say enough good things about the overall presentation of this Blu-ray. And as us collectors know, physical media is going out of fashion. Everyone's downloading, illegally downloading, and this to me is the future. If physical media is going to have any future long term, it's down to labels like Arrow Video, who put so much effort for collectors like us, and I really hope they get a good response to this. I've no doubt they will, because it really is a stunning presentation of a very, very good film from what I remember. Right, so I'm going to go in now and watch this. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'll speak to you at the end. So just watch Society, and what an entertaining film that is. Really, really is. It's about a young lad called Billy. He's growing up in a very well-to-do family, very rich. He has a sister and parents, but he doesn't really get on with them. They seem to favour his sister a great deal. She splits up with her boyfriend, who then tries to warn Billy that something untoward is going on within the family. And he basically then tries to get to the root of the problem as to exactly what is going on. That's really it, until you get to the payoff at the end, and then you find out exactly what is going on. So I'll leave it there. They don't make films like this anymore, and when you see the end, you know what I mean in terms of effects and stuff, and it's just so damn good to watch. Arrow Video have done a wonderful job with the restoration of this film. It looks absolutely superb. I can't honestly imagine, even if you did a 4K Blu-ray of it, I can't really imagine it looking any better than it does on here. It's also got a Dolby Digital soundtrack, which was great. The actual disc itself, actually, if I just try and get back to the menu while I'm filming this. Just 1 second. Easier said than done. Here we go. Okay, in terms of special features, you've got Governor of Society, which is a documentary, Masters of the Hunt, Champion of the Shunt, Brian Usner Q&A, an audio commentary, a Screaming Mad George music video, theatrical trailer, and Brian Usner Society premiere feature as well. So it really is packed solid, and I will certainly be watching the audio commentary of this. I'm very interested to know everything about this film, and actually it does really transfer well to the modern era. It does look very, very 80s, don't get me wrong. I think it was released originally in 1989, and bizarrely it looks way more 80s in terms of fashions, hairstyles, etc. than the movie I watched yesterday, Dead of Winter, which was 2 years earlier. But thoroughly recommend it. I suppose my only complaint on the actual movie itself was by about the 50th minute mark, with him chasing around, sort of trying to find out what was happening. I just felt, right, just show me what's happening now. There's probably 10-15 minutes where we've had enough sort of detective work and everything, and you just want to get to the payoff at the end. But anyway, fantastic release. I would absolutely recommend this to any horror fan who's watching this video. Go out and buy it right now. So my final film for this update is Into the Storm. Obviously, this is an effects-driven extravaganza. I'm assuming it's going to be a bit like Twister, but for a more modern audience. I like films like this if they're done well. I got this cheap in HMV, so I'll be interested to see what it's like. So I'll catch you at the other side. So just watch Into the Storm. I mean, you know what you're going to get with films like this. It's an effects-driven movie, and I have to say, it started off sort of a bit ropey, but by the end, there were a couple of scenes. One where this tornado rips through an airport, and another one where this guy's tank thing goes up in the eye of the storm. Really jaw-dropping effect, I have to say. In terms of plot, I mean, do you really care? I mean, it's it's basically about a bunch of storm chaser documentary makers who haven't caught a storm all season, and a family guy whose wife died and two sons, and that's really all you need to know. He's a deputy head of a school. They decide to have the graduation day outside on a day when they know that there's going to be a massive storm, and they all have to flee the school. And there's basically three storms. There's an initial one, a one that backs it up, and then one that is, in theory, the biggest storm of all time. And that's really it. It's I have to say, it's an hour and 25 minutes in total, and as crap really as the film was, I really enjoyed it. The effects were great. There was some laugh out loud moments, and well, it basically did everything it said on the tin, which is why you watch a movie like this every so often. So yeah, if you can get it for a decent price, I'd recommend Into the Storm. Right, so that's it from me for this review update. If you are interested in me doing more of these, I quite enjoyed it actually, and I've been thinking of a way of doing more videos because you know what it's like, life sort of gets in the way sometimes, and this is quite an easy way of reviewing movies as you go, as opposed to saving them up and doing a video that in the end you never ever end up doing. So I'm going to try and do one of these a month. So yeah, leave some comments below. Let me know if there's anything you want me to review in the future, and let me know if you like this or not really. Anyway, take care. Speak to you soon.